Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome to Track Talk, your connection coast to coast and beyond in all the latest news, developments, stake race analysis, and interviews inside the world of thoroughbred horse racing. From California to New York, Florida, and Kentucky, we have you covered. It's post time, live from San Diego. It's Track Talk. All right, we welcome you on a Saturday morning, and what a busy Saturday morning it is. All throughout the country. We'll begin in Belmont. We'll go into Keeneland. We'll head on out here on the West Coast to Santa Anita. But, boy, when you look at it, 27 days until the Breeders' Cup at Churchill Downs. It just seemed like yesterday was at Del Mar. This year is going to be at Churchill Downs, the Twin Spires, and some big races today. If you look at Belmont Park's card, which is sensational, the Belmont Turf Sprint goes as race number 7, followed by the Belle Dame, a grade 1, a mile and 1/8, Fillies and Mares 3 and upward. And then you have the Hill Print Stakes on the inner turf. That's a $500,000 purse, a grade 2 stakes, a mile and 1/8 for 3-year-olds. And then we'll see what the 2-year-olds have to show for their run at a mile. And the Champagne Stakes, another grade 1, 2-year-old, $550,000. All right, we got him online. His name is Tommy D. We caught up with him in New York. Tommy D., welcome to Track Talk. You're familiar with the show.
Yeah, good to be here with you guys back here in New York. I miss you guys out in Southern California. Things are going good. You're talking Breeders' Cup. We're right around the corner from this. Today, I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 win and you're in, 7 win and you're in races today. So it should be a good day for racing. Like you said, Santa Anita, Keeneland, and Belmont. So we got some good stuff to talk about today, Felix.
Okay, you know what, Tommy? I consider this Trap Saturday for betting on your horses today because some horses are already in and they don't need the race, but other horses need the race. You have to keep your eye on who's already in and who needs to win.
Yeah, that's a great point, Captain. Definitely paying attention to the points is one thing you do want to pay attention going forward. But, yeah, we'll see some good horses running today.
All right, let's go to Belmont. Let's go, guys, because we got a lot of work and see if we can put some things together because I think you can get paid today if you line up properly. We go to the 7th race at Belmont, as mentioned. It's the Belmont Turf Sprint, 6 furlongs, 3 and upward. Captain, what do you have in the opener as the opener of our radio program, race number 7 from Belmont?
Well, you got distance specialists here. You have horses that really like running 6 furlongs on the inner turf. Look at Disco Partner. At this distance, 8 starts, 5 wins, 2 seconds. Pure Sensation, 4 starts, 2 wins and a third. So you've got some horses here that want to win. I do like the looks of number 2, Disco Partner here. I don't like the slot, the 1 hole. But I do like the way this horse ran last time out at 5.5, now gets 6. I think 6 furlongs is this horse's play. I'm going to be using a Disco Partner as a single in this race, Felix.
All right, Tommy D., not an easy task here because you have a number of fine speedsters, 3 and upward, going, as mentioned, 6 furlongs. What do you have, Tommy D., race number 7?
Yeah, my top pick's going to be Price, number 8 at 8-1 for Zayat Stables. Todd Pletcher is the trainer here. If you take a look at this card's record, they brought this horse out to Ascot to run in the car. Didn't do well, but this horse is something special. If this horse gets back on track, it's by Frankel from Ireland. I like it at 8-1. I'd make sure to have that on my ticket. Number 1, Disco Partner, and number 5, Pure Sensation. Those are the horses I'll be using here. I think it's a pretty tough race. I don't think it's a walkover for Disco Partner out of that 1 spot, but I like to do it at a price, 8-1.
All right, let's go to the Belle Dame, race number 8 here, as we take a look at a mile and a 16, 3 and upward, Tommy D. The Belle Dame, one of my favorite races for fillies and mares, 3 and upward, going the distance on the main track at a mile and an 8, grade 1 status. Who do you like?
Yeah, so I like a few horses here, but my top choice would be number 5, Verve's Tale at 9-2. Barclay here is the trainer here. This grade 3 nosed out off the bench behind a couple horses here, Farrell and Wildcat. I think the horse should show up and be right there in the mix. So I will have that on there. I'll also have Farrell because it's having good workouts at Churchill Downs. It should be part of the speed duel, which worries me a little bit. But Wayne Catalano and Hill, we know that connection very well. And the other one I'm going to put in there is Miss Gray, June Miss Gray, speed. This horse won last time by 7 lengths. Danny Gargan is the trainer here. So those are the 3 horses I'll be using here, the 5, 8, and 3. Top choice would be number 5, Verve's Tail. Going to try to catch that hot pace.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hot pace in this race, too. I think it sets up for a closer. I do like the looks of Verve's Tail. I also like the look of a horse, the number 2 horse, Teresa Z. Joe Bravo's on it at 10-1. I think this horse, if the race sets up for a closer, and this could be one of the closers, I'm going to be using 3 horses here. I'll be using the 5 Verve's Tail, the 2 Teresa Z, and the 6 Wildcat. I just think there's too much early speed in this race, and that's gonna affect Farrell on the outside. So I'm going to go with the closers in this race, Felix.
A lot of speed in this race. There's no question about it. We are joined from Santa Anita with Larry Zapp on a Saturday morning talking about Belmont. We're talking about the 5 races that, or actually 4 races that are star status at Belmont Park, beginning with race number 7, the Belmont Turf Sprint. We just talked about the Belle Dame. Larry, top of the morning. How are you, my friend?
I'm real good, Phil. It's a crazy busy morning here at Santa Anita. We had a little rain scare midweek, but business back to usual. A lot of workers out here in the morning, and a big final weekend before the Breeders' Cup, obviously.
All right, well, this is it. This is a big Saturday. We thought last Saturday was big. Larry, I wanted to ask you in regard to what's happening at Belmont Park. Tommy D is back in New York. Tommy D just indicated that there's 7 or 8 win in your in stakes. What do you think about the Belle Dame? It's going as the 8th race of a 11-race card at Belmont. What do you have in regard, and what do you see moving forward?
Well, I kind of like the 5 horse here, Felix. That's Verve's Tail for Barkley Tag. This is a homebred for Charles Fipke, Bytel of Acadi. I really was impressed with her last race. She lost a lot of ground in that race, and it looks like they're specifically pointing to this race. Wildcat next to her barely beat her in that race, and I'm assuming Wildcat's going to go off about 8-5. I'd rather take the 4-5-1 on number 5, Verve's Tail. It looks like there will be enough speed in the race. Farrell on the outside, come dancing. There's definitely going to be pace. Divine Miss Gray. So I'm looking for a closer, and that closer for me is number 5, Verve's Tail.
All right, take us right into the Hill Prince Stakes. 500,000, as mentioned on the top of the broadcast. This is race number 9, a group of 3-year-olds running over the inner turf course back at Belmont Park. Grade 2 status.
There's a gentleman named Peter Brandt who's come back into the game after about a 30-year hiatus in such a big way. He's got a lot of fillies and mares, but he's got a couple of nice colts, and one of them is the 3-horse here, Raging Bull. Great name horse. He's bred in France. This horse has been nothing short of sensational, winning 4 out of 5 races. He's deserving of that 6-5 morning line. I don't really think anybody in here is supposed to beat him. The 8-horse Ride a Comet came out west and won the Del Mar Derby, so I would think that is your other contender in here. But in a race where we're always looking for prices, I really do not see these 2 being compromised by pace or by situation. I think it's just going to be a chalk block for me, number 3, Raging Bull, and number 8, Ride a Comet, here at Belmont Park, race number 9, the Hill Prince.
All right, Tommy D, what do you think? You heard Larry Zapp. What's your thoughts?
Well, I'm with Larry 100%, but I'm going to single Raging Bull because number 8, Ride a Comet, did scratch. So seeing that made it a lot easier for me. I'm going to be singling number 3, Raging Bull. You got a jockey-trainer combo of 42% at Belmont with Brown and Rosario. This horse has won 4 out of its last 5 races. I think it's a single today. I'll be singling number 3 in race 9 here, the Hill Prince, Felix.
Tommy, do you have the scratches from Belmont Park today?
I do have. That was the only major one in the last 4 races that I saw that I came across. That was the only one that seemed notable in the big races.
All right, Captain. Let's move forward to the Grade 1 Champagne Stakes. It's a 10 race. It's the 10 race on 11 race card. 2-year-olds, 500,000, 1 mile. What do you have?
Okay, well, just to go back to the ninth, I think March the Arch is going to be right there on the wire. He really had a tough race at 4-1. Irad Ortiz, the 5-horse. If you draw a line through his last race, you're going to see a horse that has won 2 in a row. I really like the way this looks. It ran third behind Raging Bull, only missed by a length and a half after having trouble both at the start and in the middle of the race. So I would give the 5, March the Arch, a look in the ninth. Looking at the 10th race, I kind of like the looks of number 5, Call Paul. Back-to-back wins. I like the way out of it. It came off the main win to win the Saratoga Special in wire-to-wire fashion. Picks up Jason Service, absolutely on fire, 32% winner this year. I like him at 4-1. I'll be singling the 5, Call Paul, in the 11th, in the 10th.
All righty. Larry Zapp, what do you think about the Champagne?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of speed in this race. The Florida Shipper, Trophy Chaser, and Call Paul being 2 of these horses, I think they're going to ding-dong it with the 8-horse Code of Honor. And I'm looking for a horse that I think could sit, and a horse that I've been impressed with ever since I first saw him as a yearling a year ago is the number 4 horse, Complexity, for Chad Brown. He's a McLean's Music that brought $375,000, and that's significant, Felix. This sire stands for $20,000 or $25,000, and that horse was just a standout as a yearling. He shows up first time out, was bet down to 4-5, and even off a step slow, made his way to the lead and just controlled a field that he had at his mercy. And I think this horse, going a distance of a mile, we know he's got some tactical speed. I think he'll sit behind that speed. And I think for me, it's probably my play of the day at Belmont Park, hopefully to get that 5-2 morning line odds. Jose Ortiz rides back. Complexity, I think he's a special horse, and we're going to be seeing him go in the Breeders' Cup. But race 10, the Champagne Stakes, number 4, Complexity for myself.
All right, nice analysis there, Tommy D. You want to add to the Champagne?
Sure, I'll just add maybe a horse or two, but I'm with Larry here. Top choice number 4, Complexity, winning by 4.5 lengths, 90 buyer after going off slow. So, you got to love the combo Brown Ortiz. So I could see that as a great play today. I kind of like number 2, Trophy Chaser, a little bit. Caught my eye at 10-1. This horse has great workouts. It got a 96 on the sloppy track, winning by 15, nosed out the first one. Good workouts here. So I like number 2, Trophy Chaser, at a price maybe underneath. And then number 1, Endorse, I'll just mention that. Coming from a really strong stable, and then Medaglia di Oro is the sire here. Paid $250K for this, Joe Bravo. So 7-2, that one interests me a little bit. My top choice would be number 4, Complexity.
All righty, great job, guys. That's it with Belmont. Let's go down to the Commonwealth, because we've got a great, tremendous card from Keeneland. Opening day was yesterday. Non-disappointing by any means. It was just very, very good racing. Before we go any further, we want to shout out to our friend Tom Mansour. And so we all want to shower him with a lot of love and hope that he recovers very, very quickly from being in the hospital, and hope to see him back at the races very, very soon. From everybody here at Track Talk, Tom Mansour.
Love you, Tommy.
We send you the best. All righty, so let's go to Keeneland. As mentioned, the Woodward, the Thoroughbred Club of America, the First Lady, the Claiborne Futurity, and the Shadwell Turf Mile. Boy, you talk about some star-studded events here. Let's kick it off, Tommy D, with you. Let's go to Keeneland, race number 6, 200,000, 3 and upward, grade 2, 5.5 on the turf. The Woodford at Keeneland. What do you have?
Yeah, so my top choice fell on number 10, Will Call. This horse had some trouble last race out in a 94K. Brad Cox trains here. It was the favorite at the post. I want to give another chance, but I don't think it's a sure thing here. I think there's a couple other horses you got to look at. I even like the number 1, Done Deal, at 15-1. Ian Wilkes and Landros, that combo, got a couple good little workouts. In the grade 3, it had also a little bit of trouble, but was right up there, and it's going to be shortening up from the 6.5 to 5.5. So taking that furlong could help this horse at 15-1 in that one spot. Just go. And the other one I really like, number 8, Undrafted, Wes Welker, the owner here. We've talked about this one. This one was right in the mix, just losing in the last grade 3. at Kentucky Downs, so we know a lot of good horses going out to Kentucky Downs to pick up those big purses. So those are the horses I like here. Maybe number 9, Vici at a price 10-1, but I think it's a wide open race.
All right, Captain, what do you think?
Absolutely wide open. I do like the looks of Will Call. You draw a line through the last race. You got back-to-back winners. Going the distance. 4 out of 7 at the distance. You got a lot of horses in this race that really enjoy this distance, and they're specialized there. I'll be using a Will Call. I also like the looks of number 4, Extravagant Kid. I think that horse is 10 out of 12 in the money at the distance. I think that's a good play right there. And believe it or not, I like the looks of Rocket Heat, number 6, an old $25,000 claimer from Santa Anita, now running back east. Just got clean for 62.5. 2 races back, winning by 4 at the distance. So I'll be using the 10 Will Call, the 4 Extravagant Kid, and the 6 Rocket Heat in the 6th at Keeneland.
All right, a lot of speed in this race. The Woodford, 5.5 on the turf at Keeneland. As we look at a group of 3 and upward, Larry Zapp, what do you think?
I think this race is absolutely impossible. I mean, you go up and down the past performances and races of most of these horses, and a lot of these horses are these turf specialists who do bang heads throughout the Northeast into the Mid-Atlantic area, and they all show up in this race. Obviously, the Breeders' Cup being at Churchill, so won't be far to take it down 60 miles over to Churchill. I've gone through so many scenarios here, and I know there's enough speed in the race, but I'm looking at the number 3 horse, Kid Perfect. This horse is a horse that, when he does break running, he can be very dangerous on the lead. He's been very close in his last 3 races, a couple of seconds and a third. I really liked his race at Churchill back on June 2nd, where he was second to Long On Value, who became a Grade 1 winner this year. And I think if he can pop the gate, he's off the rail, which he was on last time at Churchill. He's been fresh in. He's got a couple of bullet workouts. For me, in a race, you can go about as deep as you want. I'm going to go with a 15-1 morning line, and that's the 3 horse Kid Perfect for me, Felix, in Woodford.
All right, really, really tough event here. Let's move down the page. Let's go to the Thoroughbred Club of America. This is race number 7. Captain, what do you think about the 7th from Keeneland?
You know, you have to follow Money Mike Smith wherever he goes, and he lands on Miss Sunset in this race. 3-1 in this race, a first and a second over this course over the last 2 years. I'm looking. I'm trying to find someone to beat this filly, and at this point, I can't. I know fillies are very tricky animals, but this horse has been a gem of consistency. I think Mike Smith goes for the money today and picks it up on number 3, Miss Sunset, at 3-1.
All right, Larry Zapp, what do you think? Miss Sunset going to get it done today down in the Keeneland Thoroughbred Club of America Stakes?
Well, I do agree with Mike Smith, Chip. Especially with a California horse. Wherever he goes, he's very dangerous. I think she probably is the horse to beat, but I see a lot of speed going on in here. And a horse who's undefeated at the distance is the number 8 horse, Curlin's Approval. Does most of her work down in at Gulfstream Park, and hardly leaves town. But I just feel like off of her last win in August that she's been pointing for this race. I'm looking at her work tab, very solid for Happy Alter, who kind of just conditions a few horses for himself these days. The value is there for me. Number 8, Curlin's Approval, will get my top nod in this race, and obviously Miss Sunset is the horse to beat, the 3 horse. But another good race in Keeneland, Felix.
Yeah, without any doubt about it. Tommy D, you want to put the hammer down? You want to close race number 7 out?
Yeah, so race number 7, I think this one's wide open, too. I think we got a great card today. Number 7, Golden Mischief at 7-2. I like this horse, obviously winning 2 back by 5, the last by 7. Maybe not against the best competition, but I think this horse is going to be tough to beat here. And then also number 3, Miss Sunset, the guys talked about. But number 9, Shaylin, was also one that caught my eye. This horse also winning, 2 of its last 3. For Arnold Delcourt, and Castellano's aboard there. So that's another one I might throw in the mix, but I think this one is wide open. But if I had to take one, number 7, Golden Mischief, 7-2 would be my top choice.
All right, right back at you, Tommy D. First Lady Turf, 1 mile, fillies and mares, 400,000 as the purse. Race number 8 at Keeneland. What do you have in the 8th from Keeneland?
Yeah, I mean, I like the favorite here. I like the horse 2-1 here, the 3-horse Quidera. Chad Brown and Castellano combo here, 40% on 10 mounts at Keeneland. This horse won last time at Saratoga in the Boston Spa, Grade 2, getting 103 Beyer. Before that, it was just nosed out off its first time off the bench. So I think this horse is improving for Chad Brown. And then the other one that would concern me is number 2, just right next to it, Raving Beauty. This German horse, also by Chad Brown, finished 4th, but was favored in that race. So I think it's going to be a Chad Brown. I'll be using the 2-3 here in the First Lady. I think Brown comes home with this race.
All right, Larry Zapp, you're next up. The First Lady, race 8 from Keeneland.
Yeah, there's no doubt this turf division, fillies and mares at a middle distance. Chad Brown owns it. Those 2 horses mentioned, no doubt, are the horses to beat. Quidera, really rounding into form, 3rd race since being privately purchased by Peter Brand for millions of dollars. Basically, her stablemate, a Raving Beauty, kind of causes her own problems at times. If she gets clear sailing, she's probably the horse to beat here. But the only other horse you have to use is the 4-horse Crown Walk. This is a Godolphin horse who really came together as a 3-year-old filly late in the season over the summer, winning a Grade 3 and just missing in a Grade 2 and running second in a Grade 1 last time. Mike Smith takes the call. Her form is superior to these horses' form. If she can translate it, and the turf was on the softer side yesterday at Keeneland, so it's got to have some dip to it today. European powerhouse coming in for Godolphin. Mike Smith takes the call. I think if you just go 2, 3, 4, you lock up this race.
All righty, Captain, hammer down.
I agree both with Tommy D and with Larry. My top pick in this race is Crown Walk. It's been no worse than second and 4 turf starts. Has won at the distance. Coming out of a grade 1 right now. I think this filly, 3-year-old filly going against older in a race. Even though it's a Grade 1 race, it really isn't. There's not a lot of nice horses in here that you could point at and say, wow, that's a premier horse. I think Crown Walk can come in here and win this race. I would also have to throw in the 3 and the 2, but the 4, Crown Walk, Mike Smith, 4-1. I like it.
All right, let's go to the Keeneland 9th race, the Claiborne Breeder Futurity. It's a Grade 1, as mentioned. Another group of 2-year-olds. This time they're going a mile and a 16th. Captain, you open this up, the 9th race from Keeneland.
This is a nightmare of a race right here. If you're involved in the pick 5 or pick 4, this is a button race. You have to push the button. If I like a horse today, it would probably, I'd have to go all the way on the outside with Mind Control, just because this horse won. This horse won the Hopeful Grade 1 with Velasquez. Velasquez rides back for Greg Sacco. Comes in with a bullet work at Monmouth. So I would push the button in this race, or if I had to single it, I would use the 13 Mind Control, Felix.
All righty. Larry Zapp, the 9th. What do you have?
Well, here we go with another scratch. I just checked the scratches, and the number 13, Mind Control, is out of the race.
There we go.
So scratch the 13, Mind Control. I did not know that until I just looked, but it is a pretty wide-open race. One thing I did notice with Keeneland yesterday in the Alcibiades, the 3 inside horses that were on or near the lead stayed 1, 2, 3 around the racetrack, Felix. I consider that a serious bias. So I'm immediately going to the inside with this field and seeing, which one of these horses can dominate early in the race and has the pedigree that says maybe they can go 2 turns. And the horse that I come up with is the 4-horse Unionizer. This is a Union Rags out of an Unbridled Song mare. Bill Mott has carefully campaigned this horse from breaking his maiden second time out of Saratoga to taking the easy route, really, not going to the Hopeful at Saratoga, but going to Monmouth and winning the Sapling, and got the 2-turn experience. The horse has natural speed. Giroux takes the mount for the first time. 10-1 is too tempting for me, so I'm going to go with the 4-horse Unionizer here. And for just a big swing, I'm gonna also use the rail horse Signal Man for Kenny McPeak. Kenny McPeak always comes to Keeneland very loaded, very live. This horse broke his maiden just by a nose at Saratoga, but that was 7/8 of a mile. He's by General Quarters. I think 2 turns and sucking on the rail will definitely help him. I'm going to go with some prices here, and that's the 4 Unionizer and the 1-horse Signal Man. and this is another very deep race at Keeneland today.
Without any question about that. Tommy D, you ready to put the hammer down in race number 9 from Keeneland?
Yeah, I'm going to do my best. As the guys have mentioned, it's a tough race. I would still go to the outside here. Number 14, Standard Deviation at 10-1. Chad Brown and Castellano combo here. This horse winning by 2+ in its last at Saratoga first time out. Got nice consistent workouts. You got Curlin on the top, and you got AP Indy underneath on the dam side. So I think it's a strong combo at 10-1. I do like it. The outside post worries me a little bit. Also, Larry was talking about the inside horses. I kind of like number 2, Sambe. This horse has a pretty strong sire Into Mischief. This horse ran in the Hopeful. Now that Mind Control stretches out, this horse also won the Stanford 2-back at Saratoga, which is also a big race. So I think I like the number 2 here, then 14, and I'd probably throw in the 5. But, guys, I think it's tough. We're all on different horses here. So, it's going to be a good race to watch.
It's going to be a better race to bet. I mean, you're going to get a lot of value here. And just listening to you guys zeroing in on the selections or where you're heading in these races are pretty special. We go to the Shadwell Turf Mile, 3 and upward. It's on the turf. A grade 1, a cool $1 million. Captain, open up this race, the 10th race from Keeneland.
Well, the 9-horse Analyze It. I've been a big fan of this horse ever since I saw it at Del Mar run the closing day of the meet last year. It's 3 photographs away from being undefeated. But looking at this race, I like Heart to Heart. I think this horse is going to go to the front. But my top pick is going to be number 7, Qurbon. With Mike Smith again, Kieran McLaughlin has the charge here, and won last time out, going a mile and a 16th, now bringing it back to a mile. I love the bullet works, and I think this breezing. I think this horse is on edge, and I'm going to be using the 7 Qurbon, the 5 Heart to Heart, and the 9 Analyze It.
All righty. What do you think there, Tommy D?
Captain Analyze It. I do like this horse. It concerns me 3 seconds, but just missing behind Catholic Boy. I do have him on top at 9-2, 5-point of entry there. Qurbon, as you said, this horse won a grade 2 in its first North American start. Gotta love to see that after a little bit of trouble at the gate. McLaughlin, and you said Money Mike Smith aboard. And then, the number 6 caught my eye a little bit too. I think this horse has a chance. Michael Stidham, I like what he does with the horses. He's got 2 winners in his last 2 races. So if this horse can show up to win, pick up the pieces if the race falls apart, possibly with a fast pace.
Larry Zapp, the Zapper. What do you have in the finale of our analysis of the Keeneland card? This is race number 10. $1 million doesn't get any better than this. Grade 1 status, Shadwell Turf Mile. On the turf, of course. What do you have, Zapper?
Well, it's funny that both guys mentioned Analyze It. I don't think either guy necessarily picked the horse. I'm picking Analyze It, and I'll tell you why. Catholic Boy and Analyze It remind me of Sunday Silence the year he lost the prize in the Swap Stakes. And those 2 3-year-olds went to the Breeders' Cup and dominated Older. Prize won the 1.5 mile turf, and Sunday Silence won the Classic over Easy Goer, another 3-year-old. And I really think what we're looking at here are 3-year-olds this year. Catholic Boy going forward into the Classic, and Analyze It here for the mile. That's his distance. I don't blame Chad Brown and the Connection for taking their shots at 1.25 miles and 1.125 miles the last 4 races. But at a mile, I think this horse sits right off Heart to Heart. I hope we get the 9-2, and I just think he's clearly a horse improving. I love 3-year-olds this time of the year when they've already pretty much run representative numbers. I just think he's going to sit right off and get the perfect trip. And for me, Analyze It is absolutely the horse to be here. I'm also throwing in Mike Smith on Qurbon off his last race in the Bernard Baruch. I was very impressed. This horse, that track was a little maybe tighter than it'll be today, but the European form on this horse looks pretty good for softer turf. And I think the knockout punch here would be the 6 horse Synchrony from Michael Stidham. This horse is coming off 2 easy wins at Monmouth, and this horse can compete with the best. He's yet to win a grade 1, but it might happen here. So for me, the 9 horse Analyze It gets my top billing, but I'm also going to use the 6 and the 7, Felix, in another really good race at Keeneland today.
Yep, and don't discard Voodoo Song either. Voodoo Song Jose Lezcano is riding lights out right now back in New York. He is riding better than he ever has. And everyone thinks that Heart to Heart will be on the front end. Voodoo Song will be up there as well. So you have to sprinkle a lot here, a lot to choose from. It's a very interesting puzzle to put all together today without any question. All right, Keeneland is done. Let's go to Santa Anita. Larry, what do you think about Santa Anita now? We're about 4 or 5 days into the meet. Give us your eye impression in regard to how that main track is playing and how the turf course is playing.
Well, the main track continues to play deep, and it really hurts the closers. If you're not in the race early, especially the two-turn races, you really have trouble making up ground on this main track. So sprints, I think, are a little more fair. But the route races, I'm always going to give the edge to the speed horses. And I think the turf's been playing really good, Phillips. Times have been fast, but they've been winning from on the front end, and they've been winning from off the pace. I think the jockeys have adjusted to the fact that the turf is very tight and bouncy. The few jockeys I've talked to just say that most of the horses are just getting over it. So it's kind of the flash of the deep main track where only a few horses seem to get over it, and the turf that seems like all the horses are getting over it.
Tommy D, you looked at Santa Anita, put a pick 5 together perhaps today, early pick 5, late pick 5, 20-cent pick 6, in that rainbow pick 6 that was initiated on the start of the fall meeting at Santa Anita. Well, what direction are you heading, Tommy D?
Well, I mean, I looked at the whole card today. I thought the beginning card, there was a couple horses that I thought possibly singles. I thought the first race was very challenging. But I looked at some of the later cards with, the City of the Hope Mile, Grade 2 here. You got number 9, Fly to Mars. This horse DQ'd last time out. We should see a battle here with number 8, Sharp Samurai. Number 2, White Flag, interested, but I will give the edge to number 9, Fly to Mars. I do like that horse. And then in race number 5, we're seeing Ransom the Moon come back. This horse, after winning the Bing Crosby Grade 1 last time, by Malibu Moon, Phil D'Amato, showing good workouts. Another battle there with Roy H., but I do like number 5, Ransom the Moon, in that race, too.
Without any question, stole my thunder. M2 Technology, sponsor of Track Talk here on the WS Radio Network in Agave Racing Stable. Our friend Mark Martinez, Ransom the Moon. And he has been pensioned to be sired down in Kentucky. I was surprised to see him back on the docket running. Could this be one of his final races, Larry?
I could see that, Felix. Maybe going to the Breeders' Cup, obviously, after this. But, yeah, there's a stallion career for this son of Malibu Moon. I mean, he's proven to be a sire of sires. And, yeah, no doubt. Been a really – I mean, his form was just okay when he was running, like, in Canada over a year ago. And since he's been Southern California and Phil D'Amato's barn, he's become a world-class sprinter, no doubt about it.
Without any doubt. Captain, what do you think about the card at Santa Anita?
Very competitive card. We got 11 races. First post 12:30. I'm looking at early pick 5, late pick 5. I'm totally against the 20-cent pick 6. I thought it should be a $1 pick 6 like they do back in Keeneland. So I will play the pick 6 on the last day of the meet. So with that being said, looking at the card today, I thought it was a very contentious card and a lot of tough races, Felix.
All right. Tommy D, put your pick 5 together. You said you had a couple singles from Santa Anita, 1st through the 5th. What do you have, and how does it look per your board?
Yeah, so starting off in race 1, I think this is an all play if you have it, but a couple horses I do like. Number 2, Cashman. Second in its North American start, you got Neil Drysdale on the turf. Franco dropping down in Franco the jock, and it's going to be dropping in class. Number 4, Forever Juanito. We talked about this horse on the show before. And a pretty good 4th last time, right in the mix at this level. 13-1, why not? And the last one I'll pay attention to is number 6, Fabosi, Glatton Van Dyke. 3rd at Open 50 last time. 2-1 at the post. People liking the horse. But I think this race is wide open. If you could go deep, I would hit all, but those are a couple that I like. Moving on to race 2. Top choice would be number 8, Big Base at 3-1. Hollendorfer, 3rd in its last. This is second off the bench here. And then I put in number 7, Peachy, the second in its last at Maiden 18. We're at Maiden 20. Should fit right in here. And then number 1, Just Kathy. It's making a big drop down. Blinkers are coming off, so I'd probably put that one in there. In race 3, I like number 4, Manhattan Up. This trainer, Vito, first start 43%, so I do like that. Number 2, Amatec is by Concord Point, 21% for debuters. Simon Callahan, really good with the young horses, 16% first-time starter. And here's a single for you. Moving on to race 4. I like number 5, Hartel. Peter Miller and Pratt, Rocket Him Ranch, 25% together. I think this horse has a leg up on the other ones. 5-2, number 5, Hartel in number 4 will be my single. And then moving on to race 5, I think I'm going to go ahead and single number 5, Ransom the Moon. I don't know if Roy H. is going to have enough here. This is second start back from Dubai for Peter Miller and Paco Lopez. But I think number 5, Ransom the Moon, will be in shape. Like you said, it might be a farewell race. Phil D'Amato will have this horse ready to fire today. So I will single number 5, Ransom the Moon, in race 5, the Santa Anita Sprint.
Captain, what do you think about your pick 5?
Well, I got a $36 pick 5, and in the first race, I'm going to be using number 2, Cashman. I like this horse. Lasix goes on, coming out of the Grade 2 Del Mar handicap, and going from 1 mile 3/8 down to a mile. I think it's going to be a much easier, because this horse runs a mile. I also like the 3, Ken Kuman with Gary Stevens, nice second last time out at this level. And I'll throw in the 10, Perfectly Majestic. Don't like the win rate here. For me, not a lot of heart. 4 out of 33. Picks up the services of Paco Lopez and was claimed last time out by Peter Miller. In the second race, I'll be using the 8 Big Base and the 7 Peachy. In the third race, I'll be using the 1 Perfect Dude, the 5 Easy Shot on the drop. And in the fourth race, I like the 7 horse Owning at 5-1. Coming out of the Del Mar Juvenile. Dropping down, going from 2 turns on the turf down to 5 furlongs. Simon Callahan, sharp trainer. I really like the way this horse is coming into this race. It did run 4th in the Best Pal to Instant Grand, which is hopefully going to the Derby. I also like 5 Hartel, 3 Ma Never Know. And in the 5th race, I'm not with Tommy there. I have to use the 5, and I'm going to have to use the 2, Roy H. and Ransom the Moon. That's a $36 ticket, and go get your money.
All right. Zapper, what do you think in regard to the pick 5 today? Are you participating? Are there any singles that you could clearly share with our audience? What might be the score here?
Yeah, I've got 3 horses I'm looking at in the pick 5 sequence. It starts in race 1, the 3, Ken Kuman. This horse was easily best when running second as Secretary at War at Del Mar. The problem that day is Rosario beat Gary Stevens to a hole. Gary had to sit there and wait, and by the time he got out, the other horse got first run. So I'm looking at this horse should have already broken this condition, and since I'm always around the Pete Erden barn, I could tell everybody that the 3, Ken Kuman, is training up a storm, looks healthy, and I like the post. I like Stevens staying on the horse, and I think he's a single. I don't have an opinion in the second race. In the third race, I do like a horse a lot, and that's the outside horse, the 6 horse, Hayden's Havoc. This horse comes out of a very strong race at Los Al. One of my horses, Fantastic, ran second in that race. Mucho Gusto is a TDN Rising Star. Mucho Macho Man, who's starting to do really well with his 2-year-old as a sire. This horse that day kind of got to the inside on a track where you don't always want to be on the inside of Los Al. I love the outside draw. I have good notes on this horse from back when he sold as a yearling, and I really think the draw and Paco Lopez riding for Peter Miller is the key to the number 6, Hayden's Havoc, in the third. And the last horse that I'll mention in this sequence is in race number 5. I just think Roy H. shows up today. I didn't like the way he trained over the Del Mar surface. I thought he needed that race. Miller never was able to set him down. I think going back to San Luis Rey, I think that's helpful, and I heard he's doing really, really well. And Roy H., if the real Roy H. shows up, they're all running for second, Felix.
We're going to find out. Great analysis from Tommy D, the captain, Larry Zapper, on the radio here out of Santa Anita on a Saturday. And so that's the early pick 5. There's a lot of opportunities here. I agree with Larry that I think the Keeneland races are somewhat impossible. I mean, you're going to have to spread 4-5 in some races because that's how competitive those races have come up. But let's go to the latter portion of this card, Tommy D. What do you have in regard?
Yeah, so there's actually 11 races today, so a lot of action today. So if you can't catch the early card, you can catch the later card. As Captain said, I think it starts a little earlier today, but we got a great day of kart racing. In race 6, I like a 10-1 horse here, number 3, Poster Girl. Second in its last, you got Chew and Bays. It's going to be shortening up, and I expect the horse to be up front. So I like number 3, Poster Girl, in race number 6. 10-1 there.
All right, Captain, what about some of the other races that are part of the second half of this crowd, or a second half of this card, I should say, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, or the 11th? Where would you zero in and say, hey, I'm going to bet this individually?
It all depends on what the odds are. I'll look at race 7, the 4-horse 83, dropping out of allowance 25,000, ran second for allowance claiming 20,002 back. If this horse has got all 4 legs on it, I think this horse is going to be a winner today with Quinones riding him back for Reed Saldana. Number 4, 83 in the 7th race.
Larry, I'll ask you the same question in regard. What do you think and what do you feel from this?
I'm hoping, Felix, great minds think alike. I'm a big fan of the 3-horse Poster Girl in race number 6. Actually, was fortunate enough to beat her with our She's a Milky Way in her last. I think she's better down the hill. She broke her first allowance condition back in May of 2017, and off the long layoff, needed that comeback race. Her last 2 have been phenomenal. I thought last time a mile and a 16 was stretching it a little for her. I love the turn back to the hill. I don't think we get 10-1 with Tyler Bays today, but I'll take 6 or 7-1. That'll be just fine with me, but I think she's the now horse in form. Matt Shue had a great summer at Del Mar. He's already had a nice turf winner at this meet, so I'm going to continue it, hopefully, with Poster Girl in race number 6. And after that, I jump over to the 8th race, where I think you've got a very competitive race. Once again, 6.5 furlongs. This is on the main track. And I like a price horse here as well. Jerry Hollendorfer just claimed the number 8 horse, Awesome Anywhere, off of a Northern California Golden Gate race. I love the horse. I learned this angle last year at Del Mar Felix. Horses that leave the Golden Gate racetrack tend to do really, really well when they come to the deep third of either Del Mar or Santa Anita. This horse started its career at Santa Anita and did break its maiden and won a couple of races. But I love the angle of the horse coming off the poly, and immediately Hollendorfer protects this horse. 10-1 is a big price on this horse. So the 8 horse, Awesome Anywhere, would be my other value horse, race 8 at the Great Race Place.
Nice job there. All right, Tommy D, where's your best bet today? If there's going to be a best bet, is it Belmont? Is it Keeneland? Is it Santa Anita? Where would you put your hard-earned dollars into backing any one of these runners today?
Well, that's a tough question, Felix. I guess, I'm looking for more of a price here. So a couple horses that I like in race 7. I'm going to use Gadoo across the board, win, play, show, number 8, race 7 at Belmont. I do like that one quite a bit. I think Raging Bull is going to do really good today, have a strong race. So those are a couple across there. And then, talking about race 8, what these guys are talking about, I think this race has a lot of action. I think you're going to catch a long shot in here. I like number 13, More Honor. Blinkers coming on, dropping down in class from 120K. It's competitive here. So, and then number 12, Jungle Warfare at 8-1. So I think we find a price at race 8, Santa Anita, also today.
All righty. Just a couple of football scores to pass along here as we approach the 10 o'clock hour. Alabama jumping out to a 21-7 lead over Arkansas, and that has now become the end of the first quarter. Missouri taking care of South Carolina, and they are up 14-7. Maryland, Michigan, no scores delayed. West Virginia, a team we talked about on the Bottom Line sports show, 14-7 over Kansas. And Syracuse Syracuse. 14. Under the pit, 6. What do you think about that, Tommy D?
I think it's wonderful. I think they got that line all wrong. I don't know if they were watching that Clemson game last week. I heard you guys earlier in the show. I don't think earlier hour. I don't think it was a trap there at all. So, but yeah, Syracuse looking good this year. Dino Barber, their quarterback is something special too. And then with having a good coach with you, I think that the potential for Syracuse's program to get better and better. But I think they're going to beat Pitt today, Felix. I hate to tell you. Just like last week, I told you about the Ravens. This week, I'm going to tell you about Syracuse.
All right, brother. I think you're right. Toby Terrell joins us here at 9:45. Double T, how are you on a Saturday?
I'm doing great. I was just finishing up my last, actually, this will be my last radio appearance on the day.
Good.
I just got done with my Boston show. And
they must be pretty happy.
What's that?
They must be pretty happy.
They're always happy. Great people back there. Great racing and sports enthusiasts, and just got off the air with them and picked up my voicemail here. And I thought maybe Rocky Balboa was trying to get me aboard. I said, "Is this Rocky paging me?" And no, it's Felix Taverna.
Yo, yo, yo. Hank Williams Jr. fan club, they wanted me to go ahead and be the chairman. I said, no, you have to be the chairman. Okay, I think I'm going to lose.
If you'd like to make a call, please stop and try again. If you need...
All right, I had to disconnect here. I'm sorry, we're using 3 pads here. You still there, Tobe, aren't you?
I'm here.
Okay, so I'm going to pass it over to you as the Hank Williams Jr., bring him back to Monday Night Football chairman. But first and foremost, let's talk about a couple of the races, the maiden races, the 2-year-old race. There's actually a couple 2-year-old races. One of those happens to be back-to-back, 3 and the 4th. So what do you have in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th? And what do you have in regard to these runners today at Santa Anita?
Okay, race number 2. Is a maiden claiming event here. This is the bottom, maiden $20,000 claimers. And they're going a tricky distance at 6.5 furlongs over this very deep and tiring racetrack here at Santa Anita. I just had a very cagey, sharp trainer with me about a half an hour ago. His name is Vladimir Serin, and he was talking about how yesterday he had a horse that he really didn't believe, was as weak or as slow as she might appear to have run yesterday. And she got placed on the stewards list because of a poor performance. And he just said, listen, this track is so deep that these younger, cheaper horses especially, they really struggle right now to put any kind of times on the board. And with all that said, you don't have to run fast to win these races here. You just got to, it's attrition. It's survival almost of the fittest to get that last 16th, last 8th of a mile. And in here, I think the horse, the filly, I should say, that'll get that last 16th of a mile when it counts is the 8-horse Big Base. Jerry Hollendorfer shipping this filly down from San Francisco, I believe, with a purpose. Good outside draw, red-hot apprentice. I think this is Victor Espinoza's nephew, if I'm not mistaken, in the saddle. But kind of a great spot, I believe, a winning spot for Hollendorfer to ship this horse named Big Base into Santa Anita for race 2.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is Victor's nephew. Race number 3 we go here as we take a look at 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs. Easy Shot. Morning line at 2-1. Kent DeSormo in the boot. What do you think about the 3rd?
Well, the first thing that jumps off the page is the fact that you have no Baffert and no Hollendorfer and no Doug O'Neill in this race. So these horses are just obviously a couple cuts below, and they are running for that in-between price of $75,000. Pretty good chunk of change. If you want to reach in and buy one of them, it'll cost you $80,000. But with all that said, the DeSormo brothers, I believe, are sitting on the right horse, number 5, Easy Shot. Of course, Keith DeSormo now training for the very prestigious Calumet Farm. Good to see them supporting California racing in a bigger way in the last year. Keith DeSormo, of course, having a lot of success with his 2-year-olds, reaching the big stage. Started out with Texas Red, went on to Exaggerator, and this year's Cinderella story for Keith was My Boy Jack, who didn't quite go all the way but did make it to the big show. DeSormo does a great job with these young 2-year-olds, and I think he's got Easy Shot ready to do enough to win race number 3.
All right, we got a stakes race in the 4th, and it's a $100,000 2-year-old 5 furlong speakeasy in the 4th race. And interesting to hear who you might give your check mark to.
Well, this is a historical race, and it's all thanks to the Breeders' Cup. They have started a new division this year for 2-year-olds sprinting on the turf. They had an abundance of, seemed like, of those horses with nowhere to go, so they created a niche for them. You have these win-and-you're-in races where if whoever wins this race today, it's all expenses paid and a free ticket to run in this year's Breeders' Cup. And field of 7 going postward. I really believe it's a 2-horse race, and those are the 2 favorites. Number 5, Hartel, your local horse for the red-hot Pete Miller, and your meets leading rider Flavien Prat, and the number 3 horse, May Never Know. Wesley Ward, he won every 2-year-old race in sight at Keeneland over the springtime, and he's notorious for getting these 2-year-olds to win early in stakes racing and get on to big races. So you got to believe he had this race in mind. He ships this horse out to where I believe he's got to beat the 5 horse. I think it's a 2-horse race. I'm going to give the lean to the local horse, number 5, Hartel, for Pete Miller and Flavien Prat.
Well, can't get any better than that, Toby Terrell. But we have one more race to talk about. 2-year-old fillies, maiden race, turf, 6.5, down the hill. Very, very difficult way to end the day. But we'll be happy to get out of there, maybe go see the UFC fight tonight and see if Conor McGregor can hold off of that undefeated Khabib, the Russian. Without question, going to be one of the best UFC fights in the history of the UFC. Without any doubt, they hate each other. That's where Conor McGregor threw the chair at the bus when they were leaving from the last press conference. So, anyway, let's get to the last race. Levin, we got about a minute left before we get out of here. What do you have?
Got the favorite, number 2, Colonial Creed. He ran way, way too good to lose at Del Mar last time. If he shows up in the same kind of any way, shape, or form, he is the best horse, at least as of right now. Rafael Bejarano up, number 2. We begin with the Rocky theme, and we end with the Rocky theme.
All right, Double T, we'll check in with you tomorrow. Have a good day wherever you're going to be. If you're watching football, baseball, the fight tonight, whatever the case, have a good one. We'll check in with you tomorrow, Tope.
All right, buddy.
All right. Thank you, my man. All right. Final word?
Final word. Go out there and have some fun and play the pick 5. Play the pick 4. Lay off the pick 6.
That was a fast hour.
It sure was.
It was a fast hour. And, boy, this Keeneland, Larry Zapp was right. You're going to really have to, have a little luck today without any question about that. I mean, these races at Keeneland are somewhat impossible to zero in on because 4 or 5 runners, as mentioned, could possibly win this race. All right, for the captain, for Tommy D, for Larry Zapp, for Toby Terrell, I'm Felix Taverna, M2 Technology, on a Saturday, bringing you track talk, all the rest of our great supporters and Tom Mansour out there. Hope that you are feeling better. I know Norman is listening to the radio program, and so many other people are as well, and we appreciate you tuning in every Saturday and Sunday. The bottom line at 8,
Track Talk at 9, back-to-back on the WS Radio Network. And until tomorrow morning, we say adios. You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
Cybersecurity is the fastest growing job sector. The SoCal Cyber Cup Challenge encourages kids to consider computer security as an interesting course of study and a valuable career path. Securing Our eCity helps lead this youth competition to create interest and awareness among students and their schools. The SoCal Cyber Cup Challenge. Learn more at securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444.
I've heard this is like one of the best pizza spots in town.
Yes, it is.
I'll do a slice of pepperoni, slice of vegetarian.
You got it.
And I will pay for all of that in 3 days.
In 3 days?
What's that mean? Well, wait, you accept credit cards. That money's not going to hit your account for 3 days anyway.
I need my money quicker.
At Chase, we hear you. With Express Funding, card payments are in your Chase account the next business day. Go to chase.com/expressfunding. Chase for business, so you can.
Compensated participation. All businesses are subject to credit approval. Not all clients are eligible for next business day funding, and additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. MOZEguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.
Too much to do? Not enough time to get it done? Call on the experts at Another 8 Hours for your business support needs. By partnering with Another 8 Hours, we allow you to focus on the more important matters, like being in front of your clients, doing what you do best, rather than being stuck at a desk poring over paperwork, rummaging through emails, returning phone calls, and struggling to get everything done by yourself. Meanwhile, your family and social life are going down the drain. Go to another8hours.com or call 8 more hours. That's 866-734-6877.